Hi everyone, this is my honors thesis project, which investigates the effects of full and abridged subtitles on multimedia learning in a foreign language. With the rise of the availability of different multimedia educational tools, as well as remote learning, it may be worthy to examine what features of multimedia lessons can be manipulated to make learning more effective. For instance, the use of simultaneous presentation of narration and subtitles with identical words in a multimedia lesson. Some previous studies have suggested the presence of verbal redundancy effect or the impairment of learning that results from such presentation. Other studies specified conditions under which subtitles would actually facilitate learning. For instance, abridged subtitles that only contain key information may be enhancing, and subtitles may be helpful to EFL or English as a foreign language students when the lesson is presented in English, a language that they are less familiar with. For our study, we were interested in investigating these two phenomena, abridged subtitles and subtitles for EFL students in combination. To investigate this, we conducted a two-part study, both of which are 2x2 between subjects factorial experiments. We showed native speakers of Mandarin a lesson narrated in English with either no subtitles, English subtitles, or Mandarin subtitles. Additionally, those subtitles will either be fully redundant with the narration or abridged to highlight only key information. To measure learning outcomes, we asked participants to take a post-test after the lesson, which consists of 17 questions in total. For experiment 1, the lesson we used was an 8-minute, 19 seconds TED-Ed video on opioids. A basic outline of the experiment is as follows. Participants confirmed that they were native speakers of Mandarin and reported their English proficiency. Then they were randomly assigned to one of the 5 conditions and watched the lesson. And then they played Tetris for 3 minutes as the distractor task, and then they were presented with a post-test. Lastly, they were asked to report how much effort they put in and thanked and debriefed. We hypothesized that there should be a main effect of subtitle length, where participants will learn the most from abridged text, less from fully redundant text, and the least from the control video without subtitles. We also predict there to be an interaction between subtitle language and English proficiency. If participants are highly proficient in English, subtitle language will not create any difference in learning outcomes. If participants are less proficient in English, Mandarin subtitles may be more effective as it is their native language, while it is also possible that English subtitles familiarize participants with the vocabulary since the post-test is given in English. But none of the hypotheses were supported by our results. There was no main effect of subtitle condition and no interaction with English proficiency. There was also no statistically significant difference between the learning outcomes of those in the control group and the experimental group. However, in our exploratory analyses, we did find that there was a significant effect of language after controlling for effort as a covariate, where participants who viewed English subtitles performed better on the post-test. For experiment 2, the procedure was the same as that of experiment 1. The lesson had the same content as the TED-Ed video, except that it was a slideshow created by taking screenshots of the meaningful visualizations from the video. In short, same content for both lessons. Experiment 1, narration, subtitles, animation. Experiment 2, narration, subtitles, no animation, just still images. We predicted there to be a main effect of subtitles length, where participants in the subtitles conditions will perform worse than those in the control group, as they will need to interpret narration, images, and subtitles at the same time. Our prediction of the interaction between English proficiency and subtitle language remains the same. None of the hypotheses were supported. Nothing was statistically significant. Similar to experiment 1, we found that effort was a significant covariate, where greater self-reported effort was associated with better performance on the post-test, but no other significant differences between conditions. Based on our results, the 2 experiments might imply that subtitles neither impair nor benefit learning in multimedia instructions. Practically speaking, this means that students can turn on subtitles if they would like to, and instructors should not worry that subtitles will distract students or reduce learning. There are several important limitations to consider. First and foremost, since the experiments were conducted remotely during the pandemic, participants' participation was not monitored by any researcher. Second, we only recruited EFL students whose native language was Mandarin. Thirdly, all participants reported to be relatively proficient in English, which prevented us from exploring potential effects of subtitles in the learning of EFL students who are less proficient in English. And lastly, we observed recurring floor effects on the post-test scores for both experiments, which might imply that the lesson we used have been relatively difficult.